From the ashes of the old, we shall build anew. The system is being intentionally destroyed. Far-left extremists want to exploit the destruction to then build something different that they, in their image, something they want. It won't work. It never does. Whenever these extremists tear things down, typically it gets replaced by something more extreme and dangerous, something that they don't expect. When it came to the Soviet era, it's the intellectuals that get purged first. And I could be wrong about this. I'm not a big French Revolution history buff, but wasn't it like the French Revolution happened and then Napoleon became emperor and then like another revolution? You get my point. But the story is thus. Improvised explosive devices used to bomb tent full of homeless drug addicts in ongoing turf war near Seattle Hospital. What? The explosion was a targeted attack on a fentanyl tent where 20 customers were inside using drugs. Holy what? Yeah, apparently there were people inside. This is a crazy story. Multiple explosive devices likely connected to an ongoing drug turf war were the cause of multiple explosions and a massive fire in a homeless encampment outside Harborview Medical Center in Seattle on Friday morning, putting the hospital at risk as passerbys reported debris impacting the building. According to a police report obtained by the Post Millennial, at the encampment located between Interstate 5 and the hospital in downtown Seattle, the explosion was a targeted attack on a fentanyl tent where 20 customers were inside using drugs. Now, I don't know if they mentioned this. I don't think anybody got hurt. I think they fled. One witness stated that minutes before the explosion, he saw the devices and alerted others inside. He added that everyone inside the tent freaked out and exited by lifting the other side of the structure to escape. The witness told police that he attempted to exit south due to hearing gunshots and flashing from the bushes to the northeast, but saw another improvised explosive device south of the structure and added that he heard someone yelling that the suspect in the attack was shooting at them. Yo, what? This is crazy. What's this video? Let me get the audio going on this one.
Yeah, I don't have the information there, Jonathan. We've talked publicly about in encampment areas the correlation between crime. Hey, dear,
Creepy. That's right. Wave and smile as we're talking about explosions and drug camps. This is what the city's become. Survivors told investigators the former leader of the encampment named Coconut had recently been replaced and as a result had come back with a firearm and shot at both the old smoking tent and the new smoking tent. Jeez. And held the people inside the tents at gunpoint, robbing them of everything. According to court filings, Coconut is connected to drug trafficking operations in the area, as was described in the report as a Pacific Islander Asian male in his 50s with cornrow-style braids, with graying hair, wearing a gray T-shirt and tan cargo pants, who's identified as Michael Benito Poasa, 55, and is associated with the short white female with tan skin with the alias Monkey, who has been identified as 39-year-old Michelle Desiree Olajosen. Man, crazy. Witness say a few weeks ago, the fire, there was a lot of infighting at the camp. Coconut was replaced as leader. Jeez. In 2020, Poasa was convicted of arson in the first degree, and in 2004 of domestic violence. He was also mentioned as a possible suspect for an arson in 2020. One of the witnesses said Coconut made explosive devices from plastic buckets and had been teaching people in the encampment how to make IEDs. Jeez. This is what's happening to these cities, man. It's not just that crime is running rampant. It's not just that they're letting criminals out. It's that factions are forming weird gangs. And now there's, I don't know, what do you call it? Street war? Urban warfare conflict? A different witness saw the buckets placed around the tent with closed lids with a white and green wire coming out of the top of the buckets with a plastic bag attached. Another witness added that there had been ongoing conflicts over $80,000 worth of fentanyl that was stolen from the Asians by one of the traffickers in the encampment, and there was now a price on his head. He also believed the fire and explosion were retaliation for the recent shooting death of a person named Foolish. You still want to live in King County in Seattle? Notorious graffiti vandal Kane Casey was badly injured in the fire. He was recently released from jail awaiting charges of allegedly causing over $200,000 in vandalism damage. Man, there's more video of this. Look at this. Can we, maybe we can play this here clip of the fire here. Yo, this is crazy.
More of a glow. Oh my goodness. That is just going right
This
up.
is
Take a look at
gang
that.
warfare.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously seeing some type of explosions there now, and you're
We don't
seeing
even see
some
this
of
kind of
those
stuff in
flames
Chicago,
that are
man.
pushing out a little bit further, kind of getting close to
Yo,
the
that's
top
crazy.
of that
They try to, like,
retaining
burn this
wall
forest
just above
down.
the freeway. And that's kind of the concern there. You have the initial fire, and then obviously some explosions. I would imagine those might be some type of propane tanks that are buried inside the trees and that debris there.
And if you take a close look at the ground, you can see pellets of some sort. There's certainly some kind of debris, some items on the ground near the trunks of those trees that is just burning up. I mean, I see what morning it just looks.
Wow, man. This is crazy stuff. They say though the encampment was destroyed in the fire, just a few days later, tents, gas cans, propane, and even video cameras to monitor the drug tents were already being brought in by people attempting to rebuild it. After the fire, you know what it reminds me of? We have like wasps all over the place, and we'll knock their stupid little thing down and spritz them, and then the day later, like, there it is again. It just keeps coming back. You got to be vigilant. Man, this is it. This is what cities are turning into. Take a look at this this Twitter thread. We got Jeremy Harris over on X.com. Gas canisters and propane tanks are back today in the encampment that exploded outside Harborview. The city had posted signs saying anything put in this area is subject to immediate removal. So will the city enforce the law they posted here? People who work near here expressed to me today they are frustrated. The state and city are allowing the encampment to return after the explosion last week. It happened once. It'll happen again. For the safety of the hospital, I think it would be better if they cleaned this up. It's not going to happen. Y'all heard about that song, Try That in a Small Town, right? Jack Posobiec had a good tweet. I retweeted. Actually, let me pull that tweet up to explain to you where we're going and what's going on. I'll scroll down and here we are. I got it right here. We'll pop it in. Here's the post. Try That in a Small Town song. Imagine a small town like Brunswick, Georgia, where a black man is skulking around a home under construction looking for things to steal. So local residents confront him and he attacks them, getting shot in the process. Full stop. I got to provide more context to that because it's more than that. Imagine a small town like Brunswick, Georgia, where there have been a series of burglaries. A gun has been stolen from a vehicle. Then a black man is seen on video, on camera, skulking around a home under construction looking for things to steal. Local residents confront him. He attacks them. He gets shot in the process. The prosecutor who declined to charge them for defending themselves would herself be thrown in prison by the federal government. Yeah, crazy. The two men who stepped to the criminal would be sentenced to life in state prison. And their neighbor would be sentenced to life in state prison for filming the conflict, despite having no involvement and just filming it. The black man's criminal history and the fact that he was currently on probation would be kept from the jurors. A federal jury would then find them guilty of civil rights violations and kidnapping, adding additional life sentences for Travis and Greg McMichael and another 35 years for the neighbor. A street would then be named after the dead black thief. That's what happens when you try that in a small town. And that's the story of Ahmaud Arbery. And that's what's happening to our small towns. That's what's happening to our big cities. Cultural corruption, degradation, and pure evil of the highest order. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, I could be wrong, but let me make sure I get this right, because there is some important context I can add to this. This took place, I believe, let me make sure I have the dates right. The case ultimately transferred to Cobb County on June 24th, and then the trial began in 2020. Donald Trump was president when this stuff was going down. And I'm not blaming him directly, because the federal trial took place later. But there is a lot Trump could have done that he did not do, because Republicans and even Trump don't understand the degree of cultural conflict. They didn't get it. Trump didn't invoke the Insurrection Act. Trump didn't know how to fight this culture war, and he lost. Things are changing. Bud Light is showing us that things are changing. But you look at a place like Seattle, these explosions, the crime, the gangs, I only expect it to get worse in the short term. To be honest, in the long term, I'm fairly optimistic. Despite everything we've seen, I'm fairly optimistic that we're going to win this one because of our cultural endeavors, because we are going to shape the minds of the people in this country in a positive direction, shape their minds in such a way that they are responsible for themselves, that they uphold their own freedoms. What I mean to say is, I want people to develop an understanding that it is their responsibility, that No one's in charge of them. The other side, the Democrats, want you to just do as they say, and they will lie, cheat, and steal to get that power from you and keep you scared. I want the opposite. And that means producing content and building culture that develops people into free-thinking, independent individuals. In the meantime, consider whether or not you want to live in Seattle. Next segment is tonight over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL at 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.